Why is it so hard to stay motivated with my writing? That's the subject of today's video. Now, before we get into this, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who sent me a message about the last video that I put out. Feel like you're going nowhere with your writing. I did that video because I had already sent something to my email list that said, hey, tell me what you're struggling with. What's your pain right now? Where are your problems? And a lot of people emailed me back and they said, I feel like I'm going nowhere with my writing. When I put the video out just a couple days ago with that same topic, I got so many messages from you saying, this is me, I feel all alone, I feel like I've been working forever, I'm working really hard, I'm not seeing progress, or it's really hard to get myself to work at all. I feel like I'm just falling prey to procrastination all the time and I'm not getting anything done and I feel like I'm going nowhere. So if this is you, please know you are not alone. I got so many messages from so many people who are really struggling. This is a common problem for writers. Now, this is why I put together my latest class, which is opening up in just a few days. This is the new class for spring. It's called Mastering Motivation. And it's going to take writers from feeling stuck, unmotivated, alone, frustrated, to a place where we see actual progress. After I got so many of these emails and messages from people who said, I'm really just sad about my writing practice, my writing process, my writing life. I feel like nothing's happening and I know this is my dream. I know this is what I want to do, but I just feel so frustrated and alone. I knew I had to create something that would really speak to that would really help people move forward and hopefully in a place where we could all do it together. So that's the point of this new class, is to take us from that place to a place where we're actually finishing things, whether that's a short story or we're on the runway to finish our novel, and we're putting ourselves out there as a writer. We're stepping up and saying I'm a writer, and we're sharing some of our pieces. We're sharing our progress. We're sharing our goals. We're doing check-ins with each other. We're keeping each other and ourselves accountable to our writing practice. Now, I'm a writing coach who has worked with writers for over 10 years now. I've coached hundreds of writers, most of them introverts, most of them highly intuitive people. And I know this kind of stuff is actually a little bit tougher for those who are introverts and highly intuitive. We tend to need 3 key things in place to help us actually move forward and make progress in our writing lives. Those 3 things are support, time commitment, and community. They're all really super important. And when we don't have them, we feel the lack. Writing becomes a much more difficult process. This is why so many writers struggle with the subject of this video, which is lack of writing motivation. If you feel this, if you have this going on, this lack of writing motivation, you are going to feel, number 1, the big thing, resistance. That is how you know you have a lack of writing motivation. You will feel resistant to sitting down and writing, sitting down and editing, sitting down and doing any kind of writing work will feel very hard for you. It will feel very difficult. You will definitely feel resistance to sticking with something. So even if you do manage to get yourself to sit down and write that first page and you have that great idea and you're a little bit excited about it, when you come back to it the next day, not so much. You'll feel a little bit more dread there. The deeper you wade into any writing projects, the more resistance you're going to feel if you have that lack of motivation. You will also feel a fear of choosing or a fear of committing to one project. I want to say this is especially true for INFP writers who tend to feel a little bit panicked about the thought of closing down possibilities. However, in order to really see something through to completion and finish something and make progress and hit our writing goals, we are going to have to choose. We have to choose one thing or 1 to 3 things at the most that we're pouring our time and our energy and our attention into, because we only have so much time and energy and attention. So we have to choose what's really important to us and kind of aim everything at that thing. If you have a lack of writing motivation, you will also feel your inspiration fizzling out quickly. That's like kind of a hallmark of this is going on for you. If you start something and you're really excited and then pretty quickly you're like, it just fell flat. I don't know what happened, but there's nothing there for me now. And I think I feel even dread when I think about going back to it. Like I don't want to do it anymore. That's a lack of writing motivation. So this happens because writers are blocked by emotional issues. Whenever you've got this deep lack of writing motivation, it's almost always a deep emotional issue that is linked to it. A big one is fear of not getting it right, and writers might experience this before they start. There's this big procrastination issue with starting. They want to start the novel, they want to start the story, but there's like this resistance to starting. It's a fear of not getting it right, or a fear of I'm going to ruin it. I have this great idea in my head. When I put it on the paper, I'm going to ruin it. I'm not up to the task. There might also be codependency issues in the person's relationships. If someone has codependent relationships with a spouse or their children or even their friends, they have this belief that others' needs come first. And when you're running your life in a way that others' needs come first, you're not going to get that time commitment you need for your writing. That's going to be very difficult because you're always trying to take care of everyone else before you take care of you. And by the time you get to you, there's not much left. Guilt is also a big one. I see this with people who are writing memoir. I see this especially with women who are writing memoir. There's this guilt, there's this belief of it's self-indulgent to spend so much time telling my story, to spend so much time writing or editing or shutting myself up on weekends when everyone else is out having fun and they want me to be social, and I'm sitting in my little room writing my story, diving back into my childhood. This is so self-indulgent. So a lot of guilt can come and we can guilt trip ourselves. The last thing is not being able to give ourselves permission. When we're feeling a real lack of writing motivation, much of the time we don't feel like we're allowed to do what we're trying to do. We don't feel like we're allowed to write a children's book because maybe we don't have training as an illustrator, or we're not allowed to write our memoir because it's self-indulgent, or we're not allowed to write fiction because of this, that, or the other, but we're not allowed. So we're waiting for someone else to come along and give us permission when we really need to give that permission to ourselves. When these things are going on, these deep emotional issues, we have a constant energy leak in the area of motivation. This is why we don't have a motivation. We don't have any motivation, or we feel a really big lack because our energy is leaking. You have a leak in your gas tank. That's why your car can't go very far. So every time you try to get started, one of these limiting beliefs or these emotional blocks comes up and drains all of your energy. It's too hard to fight through it alone, so you give up before you even get started, or you abandon projects when you're only halfway through. And this is why so many writers come to me, and I got so many emails and messages last week that said, I don't know what's wrong with me, I don't have any motivation, I don't know what's going on. This is what's going on. So we must do the work of dismantling these limited beliefs, or we will never finish anything. Or we'll never start the work that means so much to us that we know we want to write. That's what my new class is all about. And I know that's a tall order. I know that's a really deep kind of work to go into, but my hope is that we're going to all go into it together and help each other and support each other along the way. We are going to be learning about key mindset shifts that we need to make, and also pushing ourselves to grow beyond our limits, all in a safe, supportive space with other writers who are doing the same thing. Now, I do have one more video in this series to dive a little bit deeper into how to actually make progress and move forward as a writer. And that next video is called, Are You Self-Sabotaging Your Writing Goals? Which is another really big problem writers deal with. But as I said, we're going to be talking about all of this stuff in the new class, Mastering Motivation. So if you're interested, if you're hearing this and you're like, I think this is exactly what I need, I'm not sure, please reach out to me, email me, message me, drop a comment in the comments box below. I'd love to get the questions answered before the class starts. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do videos like this all the time: writing, intuition, creativity, personality type, highly sensitive people, highly intuitive people, highly creative people. If you are a highly something, you will probably like the videos that I put on my channel. So please subscribe, and please also subscribe to my newsletter. That's where you will get all the notifications and updates about new classes and when they're opening and when you can register, including this new one, Mastering Motivation. I will see you for the next video. Thanks so much, everyone.